Hello, good morning. Welcome into another episode of Good Morning Nasdaq right here on the Clover Trading YouTube channel. It is the second day of September, year of our Lord 2025. Had a long weekend wing. That's why there was no Good Morning Nasdaq yesterday. We had some holiday. We had a holiday yesterday, and so we had a long weekend. So market was closed. We are not here on market holidays. And we're back at it. August is over. It's in the books. Say goodbye. You'll never have another August 2025 again. And you just have to accept that, okay? Because we're on September now. Market is still somewhat choppy. I know you guys can't see me. My eyes are like crazy swollen. I don't know what it's about, but it just doesn't look pretty. And I'm going to save you guys from that view right now. So you'll see Kyle. Just look extra hard at Kyle as I talk, and you might even be able to just look a lot at Kyle. But yeah, welcome in, Kyle. It is what do you call it? September.
Yeah,
Years
dude.
coming. We're getting close to the end.
We really are. I feel like it's already Q4, but it's technically the last third of the year. And we're here. It's going. It's happening. This year's gone by very fast, and I don't think it's gonna stop. So
So just go ahead and do it, right?
yeah, just get it over with. Let's
Do it,
just
lady.
You've seen that? You've seen those episodes? It's
Yeah.
so so funny.
It
It's only
sounded
been getting more
right to say
popular
it.
because I first saw that like not like on a tangent. I first saw it like a few weeks ago, and I did it to my wife, and she was like, "What the you weirdo? Like, what are you talking about, dude? You haven't seen that thing? I don't
Then you
know.
said it
Super
again,
funny.
and she was like, kind of like, "Whoa, that sounds kind of cool."
Yeah, I was like, all of it, 100%.
All at once. That's my type of humor. Um, Going into September, Kyle, what are our thoughts after kind of a somewhat
Oh man. I
interesting
mean,
August? I think there was opportunity for people out there, but there was also the opportunity to take a lot of losses. Um, doesn't look like it's going to be much different, at least right out of the gates.
August when I look when I have still have to make my monthly recap video. But when I've briefly looked at it so far, like all of my profits was from actually the day trading side, and the swing trades really, unfortunately, I made a lot, and then I slowly bled it all back for August. And I didn't really realize it until obviously the end, which was too late. I wish I would have stopped the bleeding sooner. But so September I always had thought like would be one of the month. I always think one of the months is going to be rough, and so because August is really good, I thought to myself, okay, September might be rough, but again, I'm not going to take it to the bank. Let's just wait and see. And already day one of September, two or three of my swings are gapping down for probably almost certain losses. I see almost nothing day trading wise besides maybe some gap and craps that'll go over today. So like already day one, it's looking it's feeding the worst of my expectations, which is like we are, markets are gapping down huge. Just looking a little ugly out there. So not the best start, but not necessarily a shocker either. So.
Yeah, and you can't judge a month by its first day. And who knows? The
True.
SPY could end up at all-time highs today. You never know with that thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm kind of going. I will do my monthly review tonight or tomorrow for all four leaf and black clover, so you'll get that in the form of a video lesson. I know the win rate was bottom level. Everything was like bottom level. I took like half as many trades as the average amount of trades per month this year.
Mm,
Um, didn't win all that often. The only thing I did really well was just like risk management. I don't think I had a day over like 1.5 R red.
nice.
Just been able to just say no. If the day's not there, walk away. Um, and I hope you guys manage risk in an effective way as well. That's something we talk a lot about over at Clover because it is super important. Not every month is just a straight up bottom left to top right, nice and easy. Like once you start to nail your patterns and you're a profitable trader, there are still challenges throughout all the year. I think August was my toughest month by far, just in terms of trying to get anything going. Um, but we're on to a new month, so I'll get you guys that review and recap out this week. Um, and onward and upward. It was still green. We still got the streak alive. The one main goal of the year, which is to be green every month. We are. We got what? 4 months. 4 months to do it. All right. Market gapping down 1.2%. We got a couple gappers up over 70%. We got two around 70 or 80, and then one's up 180. So we'll talk about that one first. If you have any questions, leave them in the live chat, and we'll be answering a couple towards the end of the show once we get done with gappers. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button too as well. I noticed that like 27 of you hadn't hit it yet, so just make sure that you do hit that. It is necessary. And let's do it. Let's do it. Where do I have to go here? All right, long weekends got me confused. Charisma Therapeutics, CARM is the ticker symbol. Biotech out of the United States of America with the 22 carm makes you want like a chicken parm for lunch. 22.9 million float, and they got negative 1.4 months of cash. Everything looks kind of medium to high across the board. We'll take a look here in a second. Do you have any sort of catalyst or news?
Let me look.
I don't see any.
It spiked on Friday, if I'm not mistaken.
Looks like some filings got put out on the 29th.
Yeah, so let me look at the filings. Let's take a peek. Let's see. Carm. Makes me think of caramel. Like the ice cream I had last night.
Caramel.
Yeah, they put out an 8K on the 29th. Let's read that 8K. Entered into agreement with plan of merger. Oh no, merger. Among with a Delaware corporation, subsidiary. Yeah, they just plan on merging, which is annoying because that's usually not the best trading news.
The market likes it.
Yeah, it usually does, but then after that, it kind of gets annoying. But yeah, merger, possible merger.
Which is probably good because they don't have any money. They got a small ATM from May of 2 years ago, 3.4 million left. A little bit on a shelf. Not a ton of potential dilution here, but I'm sure the merger will come with some. You don't see anything obvious besides that, do you?
Nope. Just talking about the details of the merger. I don't see the date, but it just talks about like the pricing and money and per shares and yeah, nothing that would be useful to us per se in this current moment.
Okay, take a look at the daily or intraday. You can see it did get going in the after hours on Friday, going into holiday weekend. Ran from 22 cents all the way into the 60s. So, 200% plus move there. Faded off into the close, and this morning has kind of spent most of its time getting back up towards those highs from after hours Friday. Big run and a gap on 610 a couple months ago. Gapped from similar area, 20-cent area, all the way to the 70s, and then did have a run into the 120s. So it was one of those kind of headache stocks that ended up being just under a dollar, going over a dollar, holding up. And something must have happened that day. What is that, 610? Because it was a pretty significant gap down that destroyed it. I don't even see news for that. And since then, it's been pretty much just lower highs and new lows. And so pretty good volume already. That day was kind of wild. 700 million shares that day. 150-ish right now. Like 250-ish if you had in Fridays after hours. So good volume. I see resistance overhead. This is the type of stock, on day one that I'm not really all that interested in buying. Obviously the main resistance, most people draw their lines at the highs, but you definitely can have resistance all the way up, as bag holders can be from anywhere. And you're not quite sure exactly where that supply is, but it's overhead. It's already a big move this morning, up 160%. It's a stock that was unable to hold up at least into the next day and failed pretty hard. So you kind of got mixed reviews here where it can gap and spike and technically close strong, but at some point the air comes out of it. Let's go back a little further, see if we got any other spikes. Looks like just a theme of top left to bottom right over the past few years. And the only real importance of volume is that day in June. Is that pretty much what you see?
That is. I liked it the most for a short today until I read the merger news. I liked that they had no cash. I liked the daily chart, the failures, the resistance. I liked all of it. And then ignorance was bliss until I was no longer ignorant. And now I don't like it as much. Only because I've never as a short bias trader, I've never really profited well off of merger news, right? There's like it's not every day that I really care about the news, but when I look back of like all my biggest gains or just best trades, whether technical or fundamental, like merger news is not on that list. Um, so as much as I like it at face value, underneath the hood there, I'm not a fan. Now, that doesn't mean I'm necessarily a fan at I almost don't like. I was gonna say on the long side. I'm not a fan of mergers because it's almost like I don't want to say a pre-buyout because there's not a buyout happening, right? But like it's just like the pricing of it and people guessing where it goes. It's like a pain for both longs and shorts unless the merger's like super mispriced. Like it's usually for when I like recall previous mergers are just like an absolute headache. Um, so I'm not saying to long, I'm not saying to short. I just know I probably rather not be a part of it, unfortunately. I was kind of excited for it, but not anymore.
Well, that is your biggest gapper of the day, up 160% at the moment on pretty good, decent volume. All right, let's see how everyone's doing over here in the live chat. Throne says they were able to close August out green after being down 10R at one point. Turned it around last week of August. Congratulations, Throne. That's nice to see.
Covered.
Wing wants to know, how do you find out your trading setup and how many trades do you take to test it out before you see if it works or not? What do you
Hmm,
think?
that's a good question. I mean, there's no right answer. I mean, if you're going to like I don't know, like the back testing route, right? Like if you want to go like full on quant on somebody, or not quant, but like systematic approach. I mean, I've heard people talk about in the hundreds, or at least back testing of hundreds of trades to know that it works, and then you can just start trading it. But not everyone enjoys back testing or knows how to. For me, when I started, again, there was no right answer here, but I mean, I took at least 100 trades, and that wasn't even on a particular setup. That was just on me like trying to get my ducks in order, right? Like I was just trying to figure out where I made money, where I lost money. You head out. All right, see ya. Um, just what like how on earth I got anywhere profitable, right? Like the first 100 trades, it was me losing and dwindling my account down 70%. And that's kind of the hard part about a learning curve, which is like, yeah, how do you gain experience without taking trades? You kind of have to. Like I hate the fact that I played guessing games where I literally just had to buy and sell whatever I thought was going to go up or down, because clearly that's going to lead you to like random results, or random trades leads to random results and ultimately losing money. Um, but the tough part about that is like that's kind of part of the learning curve. You just need to make sure you don't lose too much in that process of that tinkering. So I don't know if you have a different answer, Dom, but part of it's just throwing yourself in that arena and trying to figure it out, fight your way through it as you go, unfortunately, to some degree, and then start seeing where you find where your biggest winners come from, where do your best understanding trades come from, where do your biggest losers come from, where were your biggest mistakes, and then you can start to hone in on like, okay, this kind of price action or this kind of looking setup is like your strengths, or at least you find better interest in that, um, and then go from there.
Yeah, I feel like enough time in trades, and I don't have an exact number because I'm not a quant. Most of my stuff's not systematic. But,
Right.
if you have a setup that you've been trading for 3 months and you've taken it two times, like you're not going to have enough data, no matter what you think about that. I think, from that learning phase, and I think that phase probably lasts a year or two, longer than most people think it does, because you just have to see enough actually take place to know that that pattern fits enough different markets. But the main goal is to, there's data on patterns. Like if I'm like, here's the first red day system that I have figured out with my data. And then there's also like who you are trading that pattern. And I think that's the kind of the forward testing. That's the tracking that Kyle's spreadsheet allows you to do, which is like how good am I at the pattern? Which is like what's my average winner? How often do I win? How many setups am I taking? Like that's the real data that matters because you can't really change yourself. You're going to trade a breakout differently than I'm going to trade a breakout, and we're going to have different data. Even though the breakout's going to do whatever a breakout wants to do, you need enough time to pass where you can get an understanding of that. Which is why I had like 3 to 6 months for a minimum, because that's kind of where when I started tracking at the beginning of my career, where I was noticing like this pattern's going nowhere for me. It's like consistently breaking even or small red, and I'm taking a lot of trades, and I can't seem to be profitable. Either a big changes need to be made in the pattern, which I'm probably not ready to do if I'm a beginner, or I need to shift to something where I'm like, wow, I seem to be making a lot of mistakes on this pattern, but I keep being slightly green. That's where I would start in terms of like focusing on one pattern or two pattern. So you find your trading setups by not reinventing the wheel, following mentors, finding strategies on the internet. Historically, there's so many patterns out there, from big picture daily perspective, from scalping pattern, from short term, from long term swings. Um, that you just find something that works over time, and if you can't seem to make it work, go to the next one, because the patterns themselves, like if you want to short first red days for the rest of your life, like there might be times when there's a lot of them, times when there's few of them. It's gonna make sense. It's a stock, because psychologically it makes sense. When stocks go up 5, 6, 700%, they're gonna have orderly pullbacks, and that's probably not something that's going to change. So don't reinvent the wheel in terms of finding setups, and then narrow it down based off your own results and what makes the most sense to you right off the bat.
I agree.
All right. The next biggest gapper of the day is UUU, and it's not the UUU that UUU traded a couple weeks ago. It's different UUU without the extra U.
Not the quintuple U, it's the triple U.
That's a triple U. Universal Security Investments. Based off of this dilution tracker, it certainly looks like not a small cap. Is it? No, actually, it just looks sketch. 1.8 million float here. Overall risk, everything's low. They're cash flow positive. This just looks like something that would have the words China attached to it. Whenever I see this on dilution tracker, where like the historical outstanding shares and dilution is all the same, they're cash flow positive. Do we have news? 2 hours ago, Universal Safety Products Inc. declares one-time special cash dividend of $1 per share of common stock. And
Wow.
2 weeks ago, they did earnings for first quarter.
Dang.
So,
First three. A little late there, boys.
so this just kind of looks like a sketchy vehicle of like not a real company. But if you go back in time, it's kind of an uptrend, like bottom left to top right over time. Obviously, no real volume, like 1,000 to 10,000 shares a day, but gapping up, doing decent volume today at 26 million, and having a decent morning, up 80%. What do you
Hmm.
think?
Yeah, there's some sketchiness to it. But like I'm not saying sketchiness in the terms of like negative. It's just like sketchy in like terms of the unknown. Um, which right, the first thing I noticed on that daily chart was what you saw, where it's like it's actually uptrending. Like this is not your perfect top left to bottom right penny stock. I mean, literally this entire year, it's practically gone up. And in fact, if you look at like the lows, it's up, and about actually
Now,
almost perfectly a year, it's up like what, 200% roughly,
mm-hmm.
300%. Um, and then now is announcing a cash dividend with like, from my understanding, there's not any massive dilution. They're cash flow positive, so they have the cash to give that dividend. Like this is again, I don't think it's just an immediate no-brainer long, but I wouldn't touch a short. It's kind of like, I don't want to say real company vibes, but it certainly isn't under the umbrella that I would feel like, oh yeah, this is some crappy small cap either. Which is like the whole idea why we look at gappers in the first place, right? Like to crap themselves or to give you this huge kind of like short squeeze run that's going to run hundreds of percent and make it really, profitable for longs. And like, I don't, unfortunately, this is like 2 for 2 now, where we have merger news, where I don't think it's the same idea, where like you're not going to get a big crap and you're not going to possibly get a big squeeze unless there's shorts involved. And here it's like, this is kind of a real company with a dividend. Um, so it also puts me in like kind of no man's land ish, or at least feeling like it. Um, So yeah, unfortunately, but congrats for investors who've been in a year plus. They're looking hot right now, you know.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem to have the genetic makeup of like why people would trade a gap and crap. Uptrending chart, no dilution, cash flow positive. It's got a low float. Not a real former runner in any way, just kind of uptrending. And it's not the type of news we're used to seeing here in small cap land. So doesn't mean it can't do anything. We've seen stocks with the greatest news on earth dump 40% from their highs. So it it's kind of more up in the air. You probably want to put yourself in the most high odds situations, but this is kind of one that I will probably just not look at again until I see people talking about it in the afternoon or something if it's holding up. So we'll see with but kind of interesting morning for gappers there.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the live chat. Compound Trade says the dollar dividend was supposed to be $2.51 a share. They've known about the shareholder distribution since October. Not as impressive as I thought.
Well, it's still happening.
They're doing something.
Any dividend at all is like for small caps. Like, wait, what? Come again? Um, it's funny. In fact, what was the ticker the other day? Oh yeah, it was IXHL.
Didn't
There's
they do a
sometimes
share buyback?
Yeah, there's sometimes companies, and if they're truly small caps, will like try to play games with. They'll say like, "Oh, we're giving out a dividend," but like the dividend is coming from dilution. Or in IXHL's case, yeah, they're like, "Oh, we're gonna do share buybacks," and it's like they're gonna buy back their shares from dilution. So it's like a net negative. They're gonna like sell 2 million shares or whatever it is, 20 million shares, let's call it, and then they're just gonna buy back 20 million shares later. Like it doesn't make any sense. So there's games they could play around it, but that doesn't just doesn't sound like that, because given their cash flow positive, like, um, yeah, that's not those games that they can be played in small cap.
All right, well, those are your biggest gappers of the day. It's already 9:20. We've kind of rammed right through this morning. You got any final words for the people? Any words of inspiration, motivation, determination as we head into a new month of the year? Everything is wiped clean. You get to start anew with a nice solid $0 up or down.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just trying to think. I mean, I'm biased as to what I like, not advice to you guys, but almost to myself. And I want to tell myself, like, take it easy. Just honestly take, I mean, I'm not going to take off of August or September, but just don't trade. Try to take it as easy as literally possible. Only trade like the best of the best. Like really wait for solid, good setups. The last thing I want to do for myself is to take every setup under the sun and just get chopped up to hell and back. Um, when if I just took 5 trades this month and crushed it, like that would be the perfect scenario, right? And I would imagine most trading months offer at least 5 trades, at least for the setups I have, right? Um, so I think that's what I'd want to do. Like really just take it easy and focus on the best and literally ignore everything else. It's kind of how I want to go into September here. So, and possibly position myself for a really good Q4, right? Like if September is going to be like really slow or weak or just not, performing well, I think we'll snap out of that and into Q4 could be very opportunistic. So I want to maybe save my mental energy and capital for that.
Yeah. And what I would do with that information if I was in month 7 struggling is I would go, okay, we just saw a lot of what Kyle was talking about last month. And I would spend hours and hours studying what went right in August, where my money should have been, how my money should have been positioned, what my biases should have been, how many trades I should have taken, how I should have managed risk on the days when it wasn't there, how I could have maximized the best 5 opportunities that month and what that looked like. That's what I would do. That's what I'm doing. Kyle's approach is, I think built in, which is like protect. But it's also like if we get something, if Open sets up for the biggest breakout of the year, he doesn't care that it's in September. He'll still be there for it. So if there is opportunity, it will probably look a lot like August. If it's not and it flips the script and all of a sudden it's the craziest month of the year, be prepared for that as well. We'll be back live again tomorrow, 8:45 a.m. for another episode of Good Morning Nasdaq. We're going to head on over to the room right now. We'll get you guys your webinar schedule for the week. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a